What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and another, I guess we can't call it garage video, we're gonna call it basement video. We're in the basement, guys. The garage unfortunately is still flooded. We have a ton of stuff in the toy hauler. We have a ton of stuff in the shed. And my buddy Will, huge thanks to Will, he let me borrow this trailer. So we got quads in there. Still 4 inches of water in the garage. You can see that down there. Hopefully it has been going down. It started out at about 9 inches after the last rainstorm we had. It's right down to about 4. But hopefully another week and we can get in the garage, clean it up and get back to normal. But it definitely stinks, guys. It's been well over a month with no garage, and obviously motivation for doing videos like this, it's not very high. But we need to finish the Raptor engine. We did finally get the head back from B&R. Huge thank you to B&R. He serviced this head. He did let me know that there was no damage, which was good. So we serviced everything, so that thing is good to go. We have our piston with the rings and we have our cylinder over here. So this will hopefully be the final part of this Raptor engine rebuild. We're going to focus on the top end today, and then I'm probably not going to video. I do need to rebuild the water pump. I'm probably not going to video that. We'll just have to see. I want to focus on the top end, get that done, and then we'll worry about that after. That's simple enough. I can do that later, but let's get to work, guys. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and install one of these circlips ahead of time. It'll make the installation a little bit easier. I've showed you guys how to do this before in previous builds. I usually go between a tiny flathead screwdriver and a pick. There's a little groove in here, so if you get this thing started kind of like that, and then you kind of pry it in with that groove, it usually goes in fairly easily. Sometimes these can be a pain, but just take your time. You can work it in. So we'll do that first. Just pry it right from the top, hold the bottom with your fingers, and we just about got it. All right, we got that. Just double check it, I'll show you guys. All right, we're gonna work on installing the piston rings. So just keep in mind with this kit that we got with this Raptor, we did have to check the ring gap, and we did have to adjust the top and bottom ring. So if you guys do have a setup like that, then this came with the directions and the chart and the specs. So we just did that quick and got our ring gap all set. Some setups come already done, so make sure you just check whatever you're using. I think OEM piston rings you don't have to touch, but this is an aftermarket kit, so we had to just adjust the top and bottom ring. So those are ready to go. So let's put these on. We're going to start with our oil expander ring. We do have the piston facing forward, and you want to make sure that this thing does not like overlap. You want it to sit against each other just like that, and this is going to go just like this to the side together, basically at, I don't know, horizontally across the piston. And then we'll do our lower oil ring rail. That's going to go like on a 45, like right there, so we can pop that one in. And then the upper oil ring rail is going to go basically on the opposite side on a 45 right here. Just check those. That looks pretty good. I'm going to just move this one a little tiny bit. All right, that's good. So the oil rings are good. Then we have our second ring, and that's going to kind of go on a 45 that way. So these rings do have markings on them. There's an N on it, which you want the N, might be hard to see, you want the N to face up, so just make sure that you have that correct. So that one's good. And then our top ring, same deal. There's the N, so that's going to go 45 that way. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, guys, we're going to put some oil on the rod. We're also going to put some oil on the inside of the piston and the wrist pin. We can kind of start the wrist pin now, but we'll put some oil in here. We can kind of get the wrist pin started. I'm also going to put some oil, like I said, on the wrist pin. That's just going to make it help slide in. It should slide in pretty easily anyway. So we're just going to get this thing started in the piston. Just line it until it comes to the end. And basically this is the easy part. Just make sure your piston is facing the correct way, arrow going forward, line it up, and just push the wrist pin right through. Now we can work on getting our other pin. I've said this before, guys, we have a towel inside of the engine just in case this other clip ends up flying out. It won't go in the engine because that will not be good. So just make sure you pay attention to that. And we'll try to get this one on. Hopefully it goes just as easy as the last one. The last one was kind of easy. Oh, we almost got it. All right, I just heard it snap in. That wasn't too bad. Now we can work on getting the cylinder on. I'm gonna just double check our rings, make sure all our rings look good. We can get rid of our rag. I'm gonna do the same thing I do with the timing chain. I'm just gonna kind of lay it in here and we'll grab it with our pick afterwards. We do have some new dowels that are going to go into the cases, so we can pop those on. And then we also have a brand new base gasket. All right, so I always tell you guys I like to put oil on these too. Just put oil on them. It's going to help if you do have to ever take your machine apart. You can usually save these things and they won't kind of seize in the engine. So we just put some oil on them. Two larger dowels. They go on the timing chain side, just like that. Our base gasket. Hopefully I got this the right way. We're going to put some oil on these rings. And we're going to put oil inside the cylinder. All right, so this part can be tricky, guys. You want to kind of compress the rings and slide on the cylinder all at the same time. Basically just work each set of rings. We'll work the oil ring compress them, slide the cylinder. Well, we'll work with the top ring first, obviously. Top ring, compress it, slide the cylinder down, then compress the second ring and the oil ring. I got it. Try to hold this. Whew, that was tough, but we got it. All right, we're gonna grab our timing chain, get that out, so then we can put our 4 bolts for the cylinder. We did put some oil on them. We're going to do 2 rounds of tightening on these. First round will be 11 foot-pounds. Second round will be 37 foot-pounds in a crisscross pattern. I tell you, if we ever do another one of these, I'm going to get the tool for the piston. They do make a tool for the rings to put them in. Definitely be a lot easier than doing it the way I did it. All right, and now we're gonna do the second pass at 37 foot-pounds. I have to hold this engine. All right. That's those. Now we do have 2 smaller bolts on this side of the engine case. Those are just a number 5 Allen. We're gonna pop those in and get those started. These are, I believe, 89 inch-pounds. All right, so we'll tighten these up, 89 inch-pounds. There's one. And there's 2. All right, we're gonna put on the coolant joint onto the cylinder now. Make sure the O-ring is in place. 2 5mm Allen head bolts, and these will be torqued down to 89 inch-pounds. There's one. And there's 2. All right, it's time to work on the cylinder head. We're going to pop a zip tie onto the cam chain. We have a couple new dowel pins that will go in the cylinder. A little bit of oil on those. We have the other half of our timing chain guide. And then we can do our gasket. See if I got this the right way. Oh, I do. No, I don't. All right. Grab the cylinder head. We're just going to feed the zip tie through the open port right here. Just line it up. And I'm going to put another zip tie on this one just to hold it for now, so that doesn't go anywhere. All right, then we'll work on our head bolts. All right, it's time to do our head bolts. We're just going to put some oil on them. Make sure I got these the right way. I'll start these by hand. This will be like a 2 or 3 crisscross pattern as well. All right, so we're gonna just torque these. We're gonna make a couple passes. The end result is 26 foot-pounds, but we're gonna do like 2 or 3 passes to get there. All right, that's those. Then we have the front and lower bolts we're going to do. 28 foot-pounds, so you got one right here. And then you got one right here. All right, then we get the last 2 cylinder head bolts right here. These will be 89 inch-pounds. All right, and that's those two. All right, we're gonna install the cam. With this retainer clip, we have to try to carefully bring in here as well. Just goes like that, kinda. All right, that is in all the way. A little bit of red Loctite. All right, got our other bolt right here. All right, that's those. Now for the fun part, getting this thing timed. So you want to have the decompression mechanism facing up, and I believe this dot will line up with the dot on the engine cover. So this is going to kind of go like that. Let's see how we can do this. I've never done this kind before, so we'll see how it goes. All right, it's time for our cam chain tensioner. We got a brand new gasket. Two 8mm bolts, and these will be 89 inch-pounds. All right, then we have our spring, and then our cap. You need to check the torque specs on the cap. Oh, that is 15 foot-pounds. That is a 19mm. All right, that's that. All right, it's time for the camshaft sprocket cover. Two 8mm bolts. Make sure your O-ring is on there, and this is also 89 inch-pounds. She's looking pretty good, looking like a complete engine. Just a few small things left. All right, that's the cover. All right, we got our oil line we need to put in. We got a couple new, we got all new washers, all new crush washers. $12mm, and then these will be 15 foot-pounds. And there's a little bolt for the little bracket right here. That one will be 89 inch-pounds. All right, now we can torque these down. All right, we can put our timing plugs back in. All right, we can pop in our oil filter. We got a brand new oil filter and some brand new O-rings. So we're going to replace this one. And then you have one that's on the cover. We're going to replace that as well. All right, our oil filter. Alright guys, that is a wrap for the Raptor engine build. The top end is complete. We finished off all the last few little things. We did get the speed sensor block off in place. That's done. Once this is in the machine, we'll do the sprocket and the shift lever, just so it might be a little easier versus trying to do it now. Then it's going to hit everything, but show you her all completed. I think it came out really good. Not bad for the first Raptor build. I will say it wasn't super hard, a little more moving parts versus the YFZ 450R, but overall it's not too bad when you have the manual. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure you drop some comments, let me know what you think, and we will do the final part of this video series. We'll do it in time lapse. We're going to install the engine in the frame, get everything hooked up, and then we'll do like a real-time startup, so stay tuned for that. But as always, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, that helps a ton, and if you're not yet, please subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.